Dear human, dear soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. Since a near-death experience, I have the gift to communicate with subtle levels of the cosmos. The knowledge from these for us invisible forms of energy I capture in my books, and it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge, these conversations, with you as a supplement to the books. Please excuse me if the terms and articulations are not perfect. Our mother tongue is German, but we try to translate it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
Dearest friend and teacher, I've been itching for a long time to ask you again intensively about the topic of permission. You touched on it with me in your first work, Initiation into the Secrets of the Cosmos. And you have often referred to it here already, but I would like to discuss it a bit more with you. Delve deeper, because it's really a very important but seemingly very complex topic, as I know. I gathered. So please start to recount what you know about permission.
Very gladly. My perception on this topic is also still very incomplete, but still I'm glad to help you capture this better and more understandably for people and the posterity of all humanity. The permission is in some way the regulator in the cosmos, which cannot be described in a simple way, but it's the tool that you've influenced your incarnations, and the power impulses in these many ways through various steps, and will always influence. Nonetheless, the big difference is that the permission, the mirrored response of the cosmos to these your steps is, you are thus the initiator of the permission.
In which form it appears, but you are not the drivers of permission in an active form. The difference here really is that it is a kind of resonance summary that you are experiencing. So you mean as a human one is called upon to naturally, more or less, but especially hopefully consciously, to make his steps. And depending on how these are set, whether they are set lovingly, respectfully, mindfully, and in connection. So then the whole energy system, cosmos, reacts back to it. And this reaction in turn, in response to our impulses, it is expressed in the form of permission, right? Right? Does it only manifest in the form of permission?
No, of course not. The cosmos is too diverse, and the situations and possibilities too individual for this. But the subject is permission, or simply non-permission subsequently, is the direct response of the cosmos to your creation.
Could you explain to me in a bit more detail how this happens, i.e. How it's connected and why it even exists?
Yes. When humans set impulses in their activities, in their active incarnations, and he does that with every word he speaks, and if they are power,
False.
even in thoughts, then he creates a kind of network through these impulses. We have already talked about that.
However, a break...
This network of connections and interconnected energies is like a kind of small house where this soul operates. This house, with all its walls, floors, windows, roofs, doors, and so forth, is the energetics with which the soul wanders in the cosmos. Are there a lot of light-filled impulses set in this house? So the walls, windows, roofs, etc. are made of a different material than if they were made of dark, nodding walls. Negative, destructive, life-hostile, were created by impulses. The network of energies is either stable and very full of light, or it's contaminated, rotten, and transformed over much negativity. In these two extremes described are all your energy networks of connections and the connection into the cosmos. All your actions, everything that you initiate, more or less consciously, acts through this energy construct into the cosmos. And this mode of action therefore exists as a transmitter in and around your energy fields. And the cosmos is around you. So you are always embedded in a field of energies. And in this and with this you work, build, grow, or become weaker, contaminated, or become stronger.
Please continue.
The cosmos is therefore always the same. It's your perception that transforms. We have established this several times now.
Yes.
So the cosmos is not actively working in your energy field, but always a resonance with you, standing towards you.
You are...
The permission is a collective resonance from this great whole to your small whole.
Aha, you said that beautifully. Then isn't the permission also a doctor's merit? Solomon once used the word merit, taken into the mouth and talked about it. I also found it very exciting that certain things, how one can earn. So it's a permission, a kind of earning.
No. Because merit is actively created resonances, but permission is the answer of the whole to your actions, your unfoldings.
Yes, but the actions are also active. I don't quite understand that right now. What exactly is the difference? So could you please explain this a bit more
Very
clearly?
gladly, dear. When a person creates a resonance in the cosmos through the different impulses in their life. So this is not a merit primarily, but through the reflection, a connection, over which the actions are answered immediately.
Yes.
With the earnings, is it the unconditional creation of a field which generates invisible resonances of materialization for you? Permission is like as if the cosmos would show the streets you drive on, open or closed. Earning is something of your own, created, constructed, that exists on the roadside.
Okay, now we might be getting a little closer. I understand earning is more something that happens because of many, naturally we say, with the permission of resonance work, something emerges, crystallizes, that we materialize. The permission does not, it has nothing to do with materialization in that sense, but rather it is a sort of overarching regulatory body. One crystallizes. How and when, right?
Right. You've explained that very, very well. There are two things that naturally interact with each other, but they must be separated. Merit is not permission, and permission is not merit.
Okay, I am gently pointing here to the previous season. There was a chapter on the subject of earnings. King Solomon spoke at length about this for those who are still a little interested. He can listen to it again, but please you continue with the topic permission. What are the key parameters?
When a person has internalized his own responsibility and acts lovingly, thus he will reap other resonances of the cosmos on his impulses, as the one filled with sorrow, negative, contaminated and malicious in his thoughts, and which set the following impulses. The permission is like the controls in your radio stations, which you steer and rotate. But about your impulses, you can't steer these controls of the cosmos, the response of the cosmos, on your own. You can only but in any case, through your activities, through your actions, these resonances of promotion are found, or just resonances of the blockade.
Yeah, amazing. Then permission actually has something to do with promotion. And non-permission means the opposite. So can we assume that if a permission exists, generally in the flow of existence and works, and if you don't encounter permissions, so if things really constantly don't work, that's one somehow not acting in the flow of being?
Yes, the goodbye. Even though I don't like such evaluations as much as you know, because they are far too general. Every person, every soul is so individual that they should not even come into such evaluations. But still, yes, you can certainly think in such directions. Is a person in harmony with himself, in the flow with everything, and feels the energies that surround him? This naturally creates other impulses. Think differently, feel differently, is different from the one who is only concerned with himself and his physical concerns. The one who sets his steps feeling, loving, conscious, and mindful in harmony with the cosmos will experience a lot of permission, many switches, as you say so nicely, that are set for him cosmically. The other will keep running into walls again and again. The permission is therefore, and I emphasize it once again, the permission is the regulator of the cosmos, the tool of the cosmos that directly reflects whether you are in the flow of being, in the flow of energies, or in blockade to the energies.
Is there something one can do to experience a lot of permission?
But yes, of course.
Be
conscious about every step you take. Act consciously. Be aware. Set these steps consciously. That would be the most important key.
Subtitles commissioned by
Because
Sylvia
where there is consciousness, love can unfold. If the impulses are loving, permission radiates back. Permission for all these loving impulses. It's so simple. No more, no less, Sylvia.
But isn't there also something like overlapping resonance? For instance, if I made mistakes in a different life, does that mean no permission is given regarding certain topics now?
Yes, of course. All of this, of course, does not just apply in the direct now of resonances, but on many levels, and through many levels concerning all your being. Of course, no permission can be granted to drive on the road. When stones were laid on this street by you many lives ago, these must, of course, be eliminated first. But this is not difficult either, and it is possible. Any time, in any moment, by virtue of your free will. You are never powerless in all this. Never powerless. Just the topic of permission. Of course, it's borderline when it comes to the experience of powerlessness. As one mainly feels long-term resonances from other lives, can't quite understand it clearly. You then encounter these stones on the road you want to drive on, to pick up this picture again. and do not understand why they are there, and does not currently have the knowledge of these causes in his conscious mind, and then has to search. This process is ultimately a cleansing process. And so the cosmos demands no. Thus, the cosmos regulates this growth of souls through this kind of permission and non-permission. As I've already said, it's relatively simple, because the road is free in light and love, or it is blocked by resonances that you set to be obstructive. And then this is the call to grow and to heal, cleanse, and learn in this growth. Ultimately, these blockages will then be dissolved, and the road can be travelled. Permission prevails. So it's not like that, and that's very, very important to me, that there is a personified entity that judges you, or allows you things, or does not allow you. But it's you alone who set the impulses into the cosmos, those who put obstacles in their way, in the truest sense of the word, about incorrect, negative, loveless impulses, or those who make sure that their energy system stays clean, free, luminous and loving. If this is the case, all the roads will be free.
You said that beautifully, and I find this metaphor of the road very fitting. That's exactly how I feel too. When such a non-permission exists, as I naturally experience in my life again and again, I am always very curious to figure out what's causing it now. I recognize that something is wrong here, that something was contaminated at some point. And so I actually take it seen positively as an invitation. Clear away and clean whatever is in the way. From my perspective, permission is a great thing, even if it's not consciously existing in the cosmos, as you can't, you mustn't. It's more like you are surfing on the foam waves of the energies, or you simply cannot. And if you can't, then you're called upon to correct the reason.
That's how it is. You have summarized it very well again. I couldn't have done it
Well,
better.
you can do it far better, but we're going in circles with this discussion. I simply admire you for your explanations.
And I admire you for your pragmatic illustration.
Thank you. Is there anything else on the subject of permission? Yes, please.
About the many lives and the many incarnations on different planets, which you are allowed to experience, not always only luminous. Loving impulses are set.
Yes, I really had
That's
something.
absolutely not possible. Life also involves making various missteps and contaminating. This is part of the soul transformation process. But I want to call you up today not to despair about this issue, but to recognize them as an opportunity. So if you find in your life that different projects, wishes or desires do not, and again, they can't become reality, even though you really do a lot to make it happen, then these are signs that there is a non-permission in these matters. Therefore, my call is, try to bring your attention to other resonances, other areas, other attempts to bring distracts attention, transform the intention, and get out of the loop of despair on the wall of non-permission into the resonances in which permission prevails.
Of course, this implies that there are always also paths in which resonances of permission prevail. So there's no being in the universe that only encounters blockages, right?
No, of course not. Nobody is limited in their creation. It's always about finding the right resonances for your own resonance. Subtitles by Stephanie Geigers and by Just like a fish should not climb up the tree, but should experience, may, recognize and internalize that he is a fish who can move wonderfully in the water and should stay there. So the blackbird should experience exactly the same thing, in reverse, and not try to swim. In the element of the fish, the water, the permission is the guardrail of your being. She shows you about the non-permission, what you are not. But about the permission, of course, promotes what you are. So it's important to stay vigilant, to research, observe and react where you encounter non-permission, contemplate, question, reflect. Why there is no permission there. But don't linger on these questions, move on. To experience the places and people, situations and moments where the permission for all your creations exists. It's a permanent request to go the right way.
Exciting. That doesn't necessarily mean that one should immediately and exclusively deal with cleansing this negativity. I remember the stones on the road, not to remove them, but primarily to see where the permission resonances are. It's like parallel in the end. Should one then just... that others simply no longer pay attention. So these blockades simply no longer pay attention.
Well, very good question. Very good question, my dear. Thank you for that. I would like to call for finding the resonances of permission, but of course acknowledging that there were indeed blockages in the cosmos that caused this, have created the non-permission. That means calling you for introspection, to work within you and resolve what was perhaps created in another time and is now blocking you. To pick up on my metaphor about the rocks in the road that block your crossing, these stones are creations of your being. They are not there from other beings, other possibilities, or just left by chance. No. They are created by you, from you, at some point. And to dissolve these is the best way to dissolve in joy, love, mindfulness, and awareness. Whatever blocks within you still exists.
So you want to draw attention to the fact that we can dissolve this resonance of the blockade in the outside, the felt outside in us.
Yes, that's exactly how it is. Because if you naturally talk about activities of an old life, or even in your current life, you've put such stones in your way yourselves. Of course you can remove it, just as you put it there, by resolving what created these fields.
Wow! To round it all off again, of course this resolution is individual for everyone. There is no blanket ritual for this, right?
As always, darling, the cosmos is very, very individual. The stones in the way, the non-permission which you think you are experiencing, They are just a call to find the path that carries out this cleansing and thus liberation from the stones. But how, where and how? Oh, when exactly this happens, I can't answer. Because it's all in your individual responsibility. I see. Yes, okay, you explained that very well. Is there anything else on the topic of permission that is very important?
Subtitles from the Emerald community. Also, I really feel that the permission is as if the cosmos is a large reel, would be like a sea of energies in which I move air, a void from which I draw energy, and that shows me I can move best, should, in the truest sense of the word. The topic of permission and non-permission is, in my perception, a tool that moves us forward. Thus, all in all, once again, a tool that is supposed to build and promote souls.
Absolutely, Sylvia, you said that so nicely again.
Subtitles by the Marduk.
Naturally, some might think this regulator is unfair. But it's not. Please know that this whole topic of our movements in the cosmos never acts independently, but always only reacts to your impulses.
No.
Sylvia, the cosmos is not active.
This is a big, very, very big and important essence. Wow. But another topic, I think to myself, so is the cosmos passive? Yes, really passive, really, but the cosmos produces souls, mother souls and all that, yes.
And, well, this is not a process of activity, but the passivity that allows individual energies live their free will with consciousness. It is purely passive. Oh, I see. Although the cosmos provides the tools, but he doesn't use them independently. He is. To speak in your language, not the Almighty God. He is not the Almighty God. Say goodbye to this belief. The cosmos is. It offers.
He observes, he watches, nothing more and nothing less. Not less. And all that promotes us are ultimately the resonances on ourselves.
Correct. If, let's say, an entity like an angel reacts, if he helps, then he only comes when called upon. You said it. That's how it is, Sylvia. It's not always direct calls consciously from the spirit, from the consciousness of a soul, but resonance fields are also perceived as calls. But nothing happens without this asking. You don't know that?
I know.
Yes, I do. That's right, you've emphasized that often. The difference to non-permission is, however, that it is naturally nothing one would ask for. Has asked. No, of course not. Understand. But as described, she is the regulator. The cosmos's response to your action. You making me laugh. To your impulses set in free will. To your blockades or lights created in free will. Is there a reaction
I see.
on your action and your action alone?
Wow. Well, I must say, you really explained that all again nicely. I think I don't have any questions left, and I understand what exactly the difference is between permission and prohibition. And all that whole stuff is. Do you have another question or anything else about it? No. Then I thank you very much for this once again very, very exciting and very important session. Extremely important. I hope this information helps you recognize the signs in your life more clearly and to act based on these signs, not to rub yourself to pieces on the blockades, but to see them as a call positive and to find the path of permission. So thanks, lover.
Thanks, Sylvia.